fix to start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares on the best part of my day.
The goods from the woods.
Hot damn!
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
I'm Sam Harder, and this is going to be a funny podcast.
I'm Carter Glasscock, also.
Yeah, and joining us today, returning for the first time since Christmas 2017.
Ooh.
It's been a long time. Or was it 2018? It might have been. I don't know. Anyway, our friend
Grant Lyon.
Grant Lyon's back on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me during these depressing times.
You know, I was gonna say it's you know we're heading to the springs. So we're moving further and further away from your power center.
That's true.
December, you know, the holiday season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, I try to make these shows evergreen so that, you know, potentially if somebody's listening in 2025, they can go back and it won't matter. But as of right now, we might all be dead by 2025.
That is very true.
We've got.
I think they'll remember this in 5 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got.
If people remember, like, you know, the nip slip, they'll remember this.
Yeah.
Man, we all saw Paris Hilton's pussy that one time.
What a time to be alive.
Oh boy.
But yeah, we got hand sanitizer on the desk. We got hopefully no COVID-19 in the air. But we've been taking precautions. Hopefully everybody out there is doing the same. And avoid,
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. And
Honestly, listening to podcasts is probably one of the better things you could do right now.
Seriously. Stay inside, listen to Catch up.
I think there's going to be a lot of people just with not shit else to do. So
For sure.
tweet at us, man. We're bored too. At the Goods Pod, hit us up.
Last night at our house, everybody was so bored, we literally wrote 101 ass-eating jokes. Just we sat around.
Can we get the top 5?
We're going to live stream them today, actually, at like 5 p.m.
Oh, shit. Okay. Hell yeah. Yeah, we should be doing something like that. I've just been sitting here. Like,
Everybody's just sitting around. I got to tell you, about half of them are good and about half of them are real garbage.
Well,
but there's 101 of them.
give us your worst one.
Yeah, because this will be out after you do your
this
set.
will drop Tuesday. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of some of the you know, we had some real quotes, fun ones. I remember I wrote an Abraham Lincoln one. With malice towards none, with charity for all who eat ass.
The better assholes of our nature.
Yeah. Probably my grossest one that I wrote was I eat ass like I eat mashed potatoes. I stick my thumb in it first to make sure it's ready. So that's pretty bad.
Society's coming to an end, everybody.
Yeah.
It's really it's ending. But
Right, for these times, don't eat out, eat ass.
Yeah.
Well, this episode might actually be a great companion piece for isolation if you have just a couple of people, living under the roof with you there.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of breakups in the next month where people are stuck together and they're like, "Man, I don't like you that
I
much.
can't take this." Yeah.
Hate you.
Yeah, I'm just realizing this now.
It's going to be really rough for, apartments of 250 people or more. You know what I mean? That's going to be rough.
But today we're talking board games.
No,
Talking board games. With
I love
Grant.
board games.
And in Mr. Grant Lyon, we have not only a fantastic comedian, but also the inventor of a damn board game.
Yes, that is
River's telling
true.
us. It's
I know, it's coming out. We actually were working on new box art this morning.
Oh, no.
I was spending a bunch of time, so we got some feedback from the big box stores like Target and Walmart and stuff like that. They wanted a sort of simpler box design, so instead of a bunch of characters on the box, so it's gonna be this cool, kind of grumpy
cool.
face. It's called Curmudgeon.
Yes. Grant gave me an opportunity to test this game with just a perfect collection of people that included Brent Weinbach, who is one of my favorite comedians, and just one of one of God's own weirdos.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
just one of the funniest people to be around. And we played the game, and my favorite thing about the game is it's kind of a game based around roast jokes.
Yes.
And it plays to the comedian's mind for obvious reasons, but my favorite aspect of it is you can choose an avatar, and most of the avatars that you have in the game are, kind of easily roastable, character tropes, like, there's like a sloppy guy and there's like a trash, but also you could just not do that and then just take the gloves off and
totally
and roast the shit out of each other, which is great.
So the way the game works for you guys, so it's called Curmudgeon, and the tagline is a game of silly insults, dummy. So everybody has life cards, and the life cards might be like an aspect of your life, your mom, your dog, your earlobes, whatever, right. And then you have keyword cards in your hand. And so you're basically mad-libbing an insult, right? So if you have a life card in front of you that says hamster, and I have something that says obese at night, I might be like, your hamster is so obese, he uses a CPAP machine at night.
Right,
and throw that down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you could get into like retort battles, and retort battles are like a little bit more prompted. It's like, whenever you walk by a playground, all the kids say ... And you finish that sentence, and then you get into like a battle and keep one-upping each other with that sort of stuff. And then people win those life cards, and then whoever has the most life card points at the end wins the game.
That's like a fun, because I guess it's in a way like a writing exercise.
Yeah.
Like,
a bit. And we find, honestly, like we have never had anybody not be able to do it. There are people that think they won't be able to do it, right? They're like, oh, I'm not funny, or I can't, I'm not creative. And then, like, the thing that we hear the most that makes us, like, believe in the future of the game is we'll hear in playtesting, because, we've playtested with a lot of comedians, but we've also playtested with a lot of normal people, right? It's like, we can't make a game just for comics. And so, like, some normal people I've played the game with, and they've been like, man, I don't think I'm funny, but this game made me feel funny.
Yeah, well,
right?
That's a great. That's like a good thing.
And we even say in the rule book, it's like, don't try to come up with this like world-beating, amazing insult. Half the times, the shit that's just like random words thrown together that barely make sense is the like silliest and funniest part of it. Right? It's like that CPAP machine hamster thing. Like, that's just so weird. It's funny. It doesn't it doesn't matter. You're not gonna be like, whoa, boy, this guy's insults are amazing.
It's fun. You get like the thrill of like of writing a roast joke, and maybe it like starts like kind of overarchingly rewiring your brain to start thinking of stuff like that. Like the more and more you play it.
And we try to like really lean into the silly, not the like mean roasting. Right? It's like it's silly, fun roasting. It's not like make my friend cry roasting.
Well, given all that, do you have a history in roast, like a particular history in roasting or anything?
No, I'm actually not a roast guy at all. I've turned down roast battle at the Comedy Store because I'm like a pretty positive, happy guy, and I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to make somebody feel bad about themselves. So it's actually funny that I made this game. No, and that's one of the reasons I've really tried to like make the game silly, right? Is because I want it to be just silly fun, and I want it to be experiential. It's like you don't walk away from this game going, oh man, remember that time Rivers beat us in Curmudgeon? No, you walk away being like, man, remember that joke? Remember that joke? That's the stuff you're gonna remember, not who won or who lost.
Have you played any of the Jackbox stuff? The You Don't Know Jack people have put out?
No,
so
I don't.
We Carter and I actually we went to we watched the Oscars over at a friend of the show Joe Kay's house, and afterwards he plugged in. It's kind of like a it's its own little box that you plug into the TV, into the HDMI. It has about, what would you say, like 10-15 built-in games,
something like that.
And one of them was called Boat Jokes. And it was just like, it was a game where they were kind of it's a video game, but you log in with your phone. And then you write little jokes where it has
fun.
Each round is like, okay, you have to, and it's sort of a similar thing where you pick kind of a category of a thing. Everybody writes prompts, and then people randomly select the prompts that everybody else wrote. And it was such a fun writing exercise. And we were there with Keith Carey too, who's like an amazing, just like short very mean joke writer.
Yeah.
So Keith was just killing us. It was so funny. Because as far as like board games go, the only board games that I'm really good at are ones that involve bullshitting.
Okay.
Which is similar to academically. Like, I can't do math. If there is a correct answer.
But if I can lie about something, I'm on board.
Well, that's why I have a degree in English literature. Because it's like, all right, read this book and then tell me what you think about it.
Yeah.
Where I can go from there if it's open ended like that. But if it's something like, okay, what is the answer? It's not gonna be within my abilities to reach that. So the games that I tend to be good at are like Balderdash.
Is
one of
which is super fun.
And
that's like our game's a party game, right?
Totally,
like it's for people that are drinking beers with their friends. It's not gonna be like for a family that is trying to reconnect. You know,
I can absolutely see this game being like available at bars.
Yeah,
you
totally.
know what I mean? Like,
easy to learn, silly to play. You know, how was your experience playtesting? So, if you guys don't know, so playtesting, like the only way to get to like developing a game, right, is you do so. We sit through, me and my co-developer, we sit through and we talk about, you know, it in theory, right? And we get it to a point, and then we need to put it in front of other people and have those people go, oh, I like this, I didn't like this, and now, okay, we can scrap this other stuff and start focusing on the stuff that's more fun that people like.
Yeah,
right.
Like what rules maybe are people getting hung up on? What, you know,
and so I think you did a blind play test, did you not?
I think so. Yeah.
Once you get to the point where you're developing it, then you have to play test your rule book.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like we already know the game works. Now we're instead of saying, hey, this is how you play, let's play, we just give you a rule book and don't say anything and then just watch you fuck it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is like incredibly hard for someone that's like used to talking a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Where you just have to sit there silently just writing notes where they're like, I think this is what we do. And you're like, oh God, that's so wrong.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure mine was blind, and we did do an entire round completely wrong in some way. But it was fun as hell when we did it. So I'm excited for the final product. And
Yeah,
everything.
it should be coming out like this summer.
Yeah. It's cool because I've dropped your name a million times whenever just the subject of board game comes up, because I'm like, I got a friend who's doing that, and it seems like a really long and hard process.
Oh shit! It's like, I mean, this June will have been 4 years since we started developing it. So basically, essentially 2 years of developing the game.
Yeah.
Then a year of like pitching it to
Yeah.
a ton of companies and publishers and stuff like that. And then now we signed with this publisher that we're with in like August, I think. And so then it's been, you know, so far like 6 months of doing tweaks and figuring out like, okay, we need to, you know, change the art. We're going to change this part of the rule book. We're going to make this change. Like, can we make this simpler right here? You know, that sort of stuff before it finally comes out. So it definitely was a longer process than I thought it was going to be originally. You know, I it wasn't like I was ever like, oh, I want to be a board game developer, right? That was never a thought of mine. But my buddy has published multiple games, has gotten multiple games published. And he approached me and was like, every game I've done to this point has been a like strategy game. I want to work on like a funny party game.
Yeah.
Are you interested in working on that? And I was like, oh, well, I love board games. So sure. I mean, you know the world, so like... I guess I'll take this opportunity.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it worked out real well.
Sam, do you have a favorite board game?
Candyland.
Oh, there you go. Classic.
Real classic.
I don't know.
Well, that is the like a lot of people, you know, will tell me, I'm like, they go, oh, I don't like board games, and I'm like, no. Because you know only the 7 board games that your parents had you play.
Right.
And that's why you don't... Because there's just a lot of Americans that don't know how big this world is. I didn't know how big this world was until I started getting into it. These game conventions are nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like,
I've got
75,000 nerds at a game convention. Like, it's crazy, you know?
I've got a gigantic list of weird games that we're going to talk about in a minute. Yeah, there's so many.
But honestly, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like board games, and it's like, well, have you played anything since Monopoly? You know?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I I was the same way. I think a lot of people are also just like, I won't be able to understand the rules.
Yeah.
You know, like who has the time or like that kind of thing. Like I was like some friends invited me to go have a board game. It was his birthday. This comedian who lives here, Tyler Jackson. He had his birthday, and he wanted to play a bunch of board games.
Yeah.
And I was like, of the opinion, like, I'm not going to know the rules or all that. And then I go and like once you get it, and you have someone who is like willing to sit there and be patient and explain it. Yeah. It's so addictive. Like I was like, when there were times like, okay, I guess we're going to do something else. Like, you guys sure you don't want to play another game? It really was like I was like, when are we doing this again? Like,
but it's true. I mean, it's like you get someone that knows what they're doing. They explain the game for 10 minutes. You basically go around the table once, and now you've got it.
Yeah. Like, and you really like forget like how learning how to play them as an adult is so much more fun because you have more patience and you can like your listening's better than when you were a kid.
And now there's YouTube videos to tell you how to play. You don't have to sit there and read the whole rule book if you're not into that. You can watch a 10-minute YouTube video and know how to play now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. I had a blast doing it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's I've heard some game called Diamonds. You ever played Diamonds? Like, you put like a diamond in the. It's a card game, but it's very fun.
Yeah, at these conventions, just talking to some of these publishers, this is full games, so there's a lot of self-published games and then a lot of games that are published, but they were estimating about 3,000 new games get developed every year.
Dear
right
Lord.
now.
So have you been to one of the conventions?
I've been to a bunch of the conventions at this
where
point.
Where are they?
So the biggest one in the country is in Indianapolis. It's called Gen Con.
That's
I know.
kind of perfect because it's like pick the most random city.
Yeah.
Indianapolis.
And the second biggest one in the country is called Origins Game Fair, and that one is in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. Yeah.
And so those are like the two. Those are like the South by Southwest,
the
of
Comic-Con.
game. Yes, exactly, of game conventions.
I reckon those places they do get a lot of snow, so maybe they've got. Maybe it's like, oh, we're indoor people up here.
Yeah. But then every state has its own convention for sure.
Sure, yeah.
Those are like the two biggest ones that people travel from all over to go to. But like we've got a pretty big game convention here in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
Happens in like the Burbank Convention Center. Yeah,
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
So you went to the one in Indianapolis?
I've been to the one in Indianapolis twice. I've been to the one in Columbus twice now. There's the New York Toy Fair I've been to.
Are there like board game groupies happening?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Like
what's the atmosphere like at the board game convention?
Well, one of the funny things I think about it is we love to throw around like the word nerd, right?
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, you go to those things and you're like, oh, this is what that word was meant for.
I was just about to say,
I'm a history nerd. Like I consider myself a nerdy person.
Sure.
But then you're like, but I also like sports.
Yeah,
and I also like.
But Dan Telfer started running a show / mic at Geeky Teas, which is like a tea store / game store in Burbank. And every time I've been to that, I have that exact same revelation because as comics, we're used to comedy shows happening in comic book stores.
Yeah.
You get in those damn game stores and you're like, holy shit.
I love it though. And when I say like nerd, I don't mean to like shame because I'm like, I love just how much people can be like authentically. Like it's like when you see people in anything that are like, these are my people, I can be the truest form of myself. I'm like, man, that's so cool to see. Like you got
I think it's like the genre of whatever your like intense interest is what's considered nerdy now. It's like
totally
people like go to like show like music. Like I would consider like a cool hangout as like a show of like a really like Pitchfork approved band or something like that, or like. Because like music and movies are like cool interests to have. Yeah. But I think like the more devoted and like knowledgeable you are about a subject, like board games or something like that, then it becomes cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's especially because nerd culture is more popular now than it ever has been.
Totally. You know what I mean? So
like there's it's all to and how much it can break into the mainstream, which board games
now they very much are.
Absolutely.
Starting to.
Comic books, like board games.
I think part of it's just because like we've gotten so dependent on digital connection that the board games is nice to be able to set your phone aside and connect in real life.
Absolutely.
It's a really good excuse to do that, right? I'm not 22 anymore. I don't really just want to go to a house party and just drink booze and stand around anymore.
Right.
But it's like board game, that's a perfect opportunity for like structured drinking, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And like you interact with people, and like you don't have to do like that shit where you're like nervous and drunk at a party and shit. And everyone's just kind of like hoping to kind of maybe get laid or something. In a board game, there's an activity. There's something to do.
I mean, I was looking at our board, like we have a ton of board games, and I was like, man, if we're quarantined, we're set, man. We got shit to do. I feel good about this.
Oh man,
we got like 75 board games at my house.
I was gonna say I've been to a couple of game nights at the first at the Bro House and then the Dad Pad.
Yeah, they're fun, man.
Yeah, always have a good time over there. Carter, do you have a favorite board game that you've played recently or all time maybe?
I like I don't know if this counts, but trivia based
Trivial
games.
Pursuit,
Trivial
like that?
Pursuit.
Yeah.
You want to know what the best trivia game I think is? It's a game called Wits and Wagers. You should look that game up, and it's a great trivia game because a lot of people don't like trivia games.
Right.
This is a trivia game everybody can get on board with because there are sort of two parts to it. There's a trivia question, and you can play as individuals or teams, and everybody writes down their answer, and you put the answers out on the board, and then you can bet on which answer you think is right.
Okay.
So even if you have no idea, you can still win, right? Because you're like, Rivers seems like he would know something or something about U.S. presidents, so I'm going to bet on Rivers' answer, you know?
Shit, I might like to
So
play that.
that's a real fun party game that's just like, it can keep everybody involved pretty easily.
As far as trivia stuff, one of my favorite things is those random like restaurants you'll go to where they have an old box of Trivial Pursuit cards just on the table. I love that shit, but it's always from like the mid 80s.
What was H.R. Haldeman's real name?
Yeah. It'll be from the mid 80s, like, you know, like, oh, on it's like, oh, a pop culture one, cool. And it's like, you know, who's won the most Emmys on Dynasty? Like,
very specific to the time. Yeah,
I've never seen Dynasty.
I know that JR dies in it. He got shot.
No, that's Dallas, baby.
That's Dallas.
Yeah.
Ah, shit. And then you're eating cheese sticks, and then your food comes. You're like, fuck this game. You throw it on the floor.
This.
Yeah.
Fuck you, 80s. I hate you. I think and I got introduced to this game in high school because one of my teachers busted it out for, you know, we all got good grades on a test or something, so we got to play Cranium.
Oh, Cranium's still fun, I think.
That game, because it's just all of the games.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got Pictionary.
Even if you hate drawing, it's like, well, you won't have to draw that much because there's a bunch of other stuff going on.
Right. It's kind of Trivial Pursuit, Pictionary, charades. Like there's kind of a.
Do you like drawing games?
Oh hell yeah! I can. You
gotta play
a drawing
Telestrations game. Is the best drawing game. You know that kid game. Telephone that you play when you're a kid, like you whisper into an ear and you see how wrong it is. Telestrations is that for shitty drawing. Like essentially you have a word and then you draw that word and pass it, and then you have to guess the thing that I drew and then pass it, and then River has to draw the thing that you guessed and then pass it, and then so it gets around, and you're like, I mean, one time we had Superman, and by the time it got around it was concentration camp. And you're like, how the fuck did this happen?
Yeah, you'd think at least like the Scarlet Letter or something because of the cape, but Jesus. Holy fuck.
That's like a good last game of the night when everybody's drunk and can't draw. Great. You know?
I'll tell you, a lot of games, or social games, you know, some of them moved to like the phone. Like, you ever played like Heads Up?
Yeah, totally. Games that's like a classic.
But now it's like on your phone, so you just put it on your head, and it captures like the social media aspect of it because it records their people just yelling shit at you. Yeah, I guess like do you feel like a lot of these board games are going to have to include some element of like our phones, like recording devices, shit like that?
I mean, I think there's going to be both, because I think people are seeking out analog versions of things.
Right.
What I think probably the best move is to do an analog version and an app version of the game, right?
Yeah.
Because like my game Curmudgeon, you could easily play that against a computer and you throw stuff down.
Certainly.
And then they make up random things
I was
back.
actually going to suggest hitting up, you know, if there's a way to get in touch with them, the Jackbox people, because that is very much even as I was playing the the boat jokes game that we were doing, I was kind of in the back of my head, I was kind of thinking like, bet Grant's game could get on this. Like,
Oh,
this,
yeah,
this would
totally.
be a killer thing for.
I'm sure you've announced it in multiple. Yeah, but he came up with it first.
Yeah.
It is such a great idea.
It's copyrighted and everything.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah. Well, no, the game I was playing wasn't even. It's not even that similar. It's more just like
It just involves creativity.
It involves coming up with
Right,
jokes.
and that's like one of the main reasons we did that. It was like, I don't know if you guys have played like Cards Against Humanity
Oh,
or
of course,
things like that. It's
Yeah.
one of the most popular games there is. To me, that game's very boring.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there's you have no agency over it at all. It's just
You just pick
I'm
a
going to put this
selection.
card down. Someone's going to select it for a reason that I don't know.
Yeah.
I have this card in my hand. Anytime I put this card down, it'll win, regardless of what it's for, because it's just that good of a card.
Yeah, it says
right?
double-sided
And it-
dildo or something.
Yeah. And you're like, I don't know, it just gets a little boring to me.
It's because it's like you said, there's more agency. You're operating on someone else's sense of humor in that
Yes.
game than your own.
And in this one, you're bringing your own creativity to it,
Right.
which is like the big thing we wanted to do with it.
Yeah.
Then one of the taglines we say like on the box is, make up funny stuff even if you're not.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
That's a great tagline.
Yeah.
Because Cards Against Humanity is like, it's very funny for like, bachelorette parties and
Yeah,
they'll like
that's what
get
I
a
mean.
kick out of
It's
it. They're
fun
like, "Tee."
for
Yeah.
like the first few times you play it, and then you're like, all right, I can like see the mechanism here, and I'm kind of bored. by
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Yeah.
But those dudes are also worth millions
I
and
was about to
millions of
say,
dollars.
yeah.
Were they trying to buy some portion of land where Trump was going to build the wall?
Oh, really? I don't know.
I'd heard something like they were going to buy a portion of like the tract where he was going to build the wall, and they were just going to keep it so he couldn't.
Yeah.
Because it's private property.
That's
at that point.
funny.
Let's see. Cards Against Humanity, an irreverent card game company known for its attention-seeking pranks, says it bought land on the U.S.-Mexico border to block President Trump from building his wall.
Yeah.
The Chicago company said on its website that this was part of a holiday promotion, which customers could contribute to the wall blocking project with $15 purchases for surprise gift packages. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's pretty funny.
Trump's going to launch like a whole campaign against Cards Against Humanity with like this whole like xenophobic thing. He's going through, like, we got to block the border.
Yeah, so Grant, obviously, you got a card game in development and lots of games at your house.
Yeah.
Do you have an all-time like number one?
I think if I had to pick my all-time number one, it's Bang. And it's specifically the dice version of Bang. There's a card version and a dice version. I don't know if you might have played this at my house.
Which one is it? Is it the cowboy one?
Yes, it's
Yes,
the
I did
cowboy
play that
one.
one,
And
yeah.
that one is so fun.
It was fun as hell.
The way the game works is there are secret roles. You can be the sheriff, the deputy, the outlaws, or the renegade.
Yeah.
And so nobody knows who we are. And you have different objectives based on your role. You know, the outlaws are just trying to kill the sheriff. That's all. The renegade is trying to be the last person alive. The vice deputies are just trying to keep the sheriff alive. Even if they die, but the sheriff wins, they win too. And so you are rolling dice, and the dice can indicate you can shoot people. You can give yourself beers, which help give you life.
Yeah.
You can shoot everybody once at the same time. You can. There's dynamite that you roll, and just it's like really fun because there's like a lot of lying too, where you're like,
Right.
you're like, I'm not gonna shoot you because obviously I'm the deputy and I don't want to shoot you, and I'm like the outlaw the whole time. And there's like a lot of fun like social interaction with it too.
Yeah.
And it's a game that like always makes me laugh, always makes me like yell, always
Yeah.
gets an emotional reaction, right?
Yeah,
You
that's
feel like after the game too, it's like one of those things where everyone's like you were. So you're pretty good at hiding that, like, you know,
yeah.
like people like get to reveal their acting skills
Yeah,
for being
totally.
nonchalant about being.
And I'm somebody that's like, let's get this party started. So when I'm an outlaw and it comes to me the first time, I just shoot the sheriff as much as I can. And everybody's like, you're an outlaw. And I'm like, yeah, but I fucked the sheriff up, all right?
like a Robin Hood esque character.
Yeah, that's it's very similar to it's sort of a more elaborate version of Mafia,
Yes,
which is one of my
yeah.
favorite things ever. Where you basically, however many people are sitting at the table, basically there's a nurse, a sheriff, and then two Mafia members. And
Yeah.
then everybody kind of like covers your eyes, and the Mafia. You know, it's like, all right, everybody go to sleep. So you cover your eyes, and it's like, Mafia, wake up. Who do you want to kill? They point at somebody, and then basically they're trying to kill the sheriff.
Yeah.
But nobody knows who anybody is. So it's kind of a
Yeah.
more elaborate version of that. So yeah, I did play that one when I was over there. But yeah, I love that shit. We would get together and do my friend of mine. Andrew Lopez, past guest of the show. He was working for some big time Hollywood types that put him in charge of their house while they were away.
Oh, fine.
So he invited a bunch of us over to this fucking giant house in Beverly Hills and killed all the lights and put candles on, and we played Mafia.
That's fun.
12 of us. It was the funnest shit ever. Yeah. It's because again, it plays to my my love of bullshitting, where you just like you can do some really crazy shit where you're like.
I like bullshitting too. I have a new game that I'm real into that I've only played like 3 times so far called The Menace Among Us. You are on a spaceship that's broken down and you're trying to get the energy to a certain level before the oxygen hits 0. And most people are just regular passive crew members, but then there are also multiple menaces that are purposely trying to like do airlock breaches and stuff like that, and it's pretty fun.
They had a similar one like on that Jackbox, the Alien.
It's Alien Spaceship or something. But the whole thing is you guess which one of the crew members is aliens, and then you have to... And I am a horrible liar, and not even in this like trying to be like, I can't tell... I mean, like, it's not good for my everyday life, can't lie. Like, like that. Games like that give me anxiety, and I start sweating, and I'm just like, I guess someone else here is the alien. It's definitely not me. Like my tells are very apparent. Like, I'd be an awful poker player.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you play poker, you just get a good hand, and you just start dancing. You're like, never mind.
I fold. Yeah, he's dancing. I fold.
He's got this horrible tell.
I just don't want
you in the corner juggling oranges.
I just don't want deep vein thrombosis. You got to move around.
He pulls out a slide whistle. He has a good hand.
I guess this is the difference between like active and passive forms of entertainment. Even when something's bad, like acknowledgeably bad, like say that Iron Fist show.
Oh yeah.
Like I had a roommate who watched the whole thing and he was like, sucks. Like he watched the whole season. But with board games, if you don't get like a second of it within the first, you're just like, fuck this, and you like want to throw it on the ground. Like it's just.
Have you guys ever thrown a board game on the ground?
I have
accidentally when I was drunk. Like I ruined an entire game of Risk.
Oh, but you just bumped into it on accident?
Yeah, I was like, excuse me. I was at the beach and I fucked up someone's game of Risk.
Wait. Who were you at the beach with that you were drunk and then someone else was playing Risk?
That's a good question.
I was with my friend Pat and his brother Michael, and they were his brother and his friend were playing Risk. I was meeting
that does
them.
not sound like a beach game.
Yeah, I think they were just really into it.
It was raining or something.
It was raining. Yeah, we were all like, "We're the beaches, rain. This is bullshit." And so they were playing Risk, and like I got really drunk and
by yourself, no one else.
Well,
everyone else is playing
it
Risk.
Sounds better than Risk. Let's be honest.
Well, I did ruin the game, so
yeah. I don't know if I've ever. I guarantee I have done it because I've done other shitty like bad loser things, like when someone's like beating me in Street Fighter by just using the same move over and over. I have definitely gotten up and turned the Super Nintendo off before the game ended.
Unhook that shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Which feels like very much like a throw in a board game sort of a move.
Absolutely. I remember I knocked over a game, the whole table of Scrabble. It was like one of those foldable tables in my parents' living room. I don't remember how old I was. I was a kid. Definitely got so pissed off I just knocked over the entire table. I think maybe I threw a game of Monopoly on the floor once when I was a child.
I mean, it's like if you're going to play like a game of Jenga or something, like read the room. You know what I mean? If there's a bull in the china shop, then you're going to fucking...
If there's a drunk Carter about.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely...
Hold on real quick. Are they drunk playing Risk too?
Yeah, they're sensibly drinking.
Okay. Because what I'm imagining here is there are
Having a
three
good
people.
time.
There are 3 people in a beach house. 2 of them are reasonable and are playing Risk because it's raining outside, and the
They're
Carter's
trying to
just
include me.
shit face wandering around like, hey.
Well, I did that thing I do when I feel insecure and I overdrink.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm never going to understand this game.
I'll take Australia.
Yeah. It was like them playing Risk was like the same thing as like the girl I had a crush on in high school being like, "Are you going on the class trip?" Like I was just drinking to like compensate for my insecurity of not being able to understand this game. And I was like, do I move the red one or the blue one?
It's reminding me of how shitty that game Mousetrap is.
Oh, yeah. It's always falling apart. You're always losing parts of it. It's way too complicated.
Yeah.
Way too complicated for children.
Yeah.
But watching people who know how to play it though, and like getting the actual shit set up, that was kind of entertaining. I did like to watch people.
Never
watch.
witnessed that in my entire life.
Yeah, it probably honestly was like one of those games that was more fun to set up than to actually
I was
play.
going to say,
Yeah.
I have literally never played that game.
Yeah.
But I have set up that Rube Goldberg machine a million times because that's what we used to do is just set it up and then just do it.
Yeah.
We didn't actually play the fucking game. We just wanted to watch the marble go down the stairs and then the basket and the soldier and the jumping and the whole thing.
Yeah, totally.
That's the money's worth right there.
Absolutely. I wanted to pull up because I found a couple websites that had just weird games that I wanted
there's
to
a bunch
run
of
by
weird
you.
ones.
Do you actually before I run down the list? Do you personally what's like the weirdest board game that you've played?
Man, the weirdest board game I've played. I don't know. Like I've played some ones that I didn't think were good. I've also played ones like there was one that was getting a ton of hype at a board game convention this summer. I mean, people were talking about it like in the halls. People were like, "Have you gone and tried to play this one yet?" And I went over and I play tested it, and it was essentially like you both have 2 cards and you don't know the cards, and then you say a word that's like that, and then you try to come closer and closer on the words you say. Like a fucking improv warm-up game.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is... And people were like, this is so cool and great. And I was like, this is a warm-up game.
Yeah.
Like, what is...
Yeah.
Really? And it's just like... And they called it The Mind or something like that, where you're trying to become of like one mind. And I've done that stuff in Groundlings classes. That's not a board game. You know?
I wanted to share a couple of these that I found that were just... So this one is from 1991, and it is called... Vanilla Ice electronic rap game.
Yeah. Oh, the ones that are based on pre-existing properties are
Incredible.
oftentimes like the weirdest and the worst.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so this one, the BoardGameGeek.com, first of all, has a complexity rating of 3.5
Jesus
out of
Christ.
5.
Like I won't play anything that's more than like 2.5. So that's super complicated.
For an electronic rap game. I mean, is it possibly anything else besides karaoke and Vanilla Ice songs?
So here it is. This is Vanilla Ice's Rap Happy Rhyme to Rhyme game. Players play rhyming cards to compete rap lines on the game board. Each card played score points. Every time a rap line is completed, the player raps it out loud to the rhythm of the electronic beatbox mic.
This sounds fun.
This actually does sound kind of fun.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. This sounds great.
So this is like the grandma from Wedding Singer game. Hip hop.
Yeah. When all the rap lines on the board have been filled, players count their points. The player with the most point wins and raps the entire board using the beatbox mic. This game is a pretty funny gem from the early 90s. So that actually, going in sounded stupid, but I'm kind of on board actually for this.
There are games. We've been playing this game in my house a bunch right now called Take 5. And apparently it's like a game that came out in the 90s, never got any love, and then like board game geeks have found it over the last like 3 years, and now it's like blown up again with this like second life because it legitimately is like a real fun game, but nobody knew it when it came out. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of that game. Take 5.
Take 5. And there's 2 versions. There's Take 5 and Take a Number.
Okay.
And it's like, it's super fun.
I found.
I wonder how much like games like that to like a vintage copy of Vanilla Ice's Electronic.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be so
Yeah,
expensive.
because I'm sure it
now.
hasn't been printed
Right.
since 1994.
Right?
you know?
Yeah. That it's a fun would be a bonus, but like buy a copy of it for like $500 or some shit like that.
Yeah,
But like I bought a game because I love the Princess Bride so much, and so
Yeah.
I found a game at one of these conventions. It was the Battle of Wits. It was like the Princess Bride Battle
right,
of Wits.
yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Like, the game's terrible. You know, where it's like there's no strategy, there's no real reason for it to exist. But it worked, right? I was like, I love the Princess Bride. I
Right.
will buy a Princess Bride game.
Yeah.
So the exact reason that they made it worked on me.
There is a game from 1977 called After the Holocaust: The Nuclear Devastation of America, Recovery and Reunification.
I think what may have killed their sales there is the use of the H word.
It's an economic, military, and political simulation of events in the United States 20 years after a large-scale thermonuclear exchange with the
Jesus.
Soviet Union. The game is 10 turns long and is designed for 4 players, each of whom controls a different region of North America and part of Canada. These regions are the Northeast, the Midwest, the Southwest, and the Far West. It is reminiscent of the works of Stafford Beer and Proyecto Cinco. I don't know. So,
Hey kids, I got a new game for game night.
it's called After the Holocaust: The Nuclear Devastation of America, Recovery and Reunification.
Even that TV movie about the nuclear holocaust is called The Day After.
Right. Yeah, get a better name. I found an All My Children game, speaking
Yeah.
of soap operas, from 1985.
Yep. Any pre-exist? Here's one I thought of that's like a weird game. Town Dump. It's you have like a dump truck and you're basically just going and dumping stuff into like a garbage pit.
Okay.
Okay,
I would play that.
Yeah, that's fun.
The man who invented that almost certainly drove a dump truck, right?
Oh,
Like-
for sure.
like that
but it's
was-
like you can go pick up little things of waste and try to take them to the dump, dump them in and stuff.
We took a field trip to the dump, actually.
Really?
So when I was in 7th grade, I think I've mentioned this dude on the podcast before. My my 7th grade teacher, Mr. Blake, got himself a commercial driver's license specifically so he could take our class on what he called mini trips, which were just, period long field trips to different things. And we went to the shit factory, the piss factory, and the dump.
I mean, look, I don't think it's the worst idea, right? If you're trying to be like, this is how our community, this is how our civic system works.
I certainly never forgot him.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think they had to cancel. They were about to, all the schools, they were about to take those field trips. They had to cancel it.
Yeah. They had to call the solid waste treatment place. Sorry, the poop plant's closed.
I wanted to go to the doo factory.
One kid who's really upset. The funniest thing about the piss factory is that they have they have a whole retention pool that's just condoms and tampons.
What?
Yeah, because when you flush the toilet, the liquid stuff goes one direction, the solid stuff goes the other direction, but then certain shit will get past the filter and go into the piss factory. And
How
they have
old
to have
were you?
7th grade.
So this is what, like, they're being like, now remember, boys, don't flush your condoms after you use them.
We were
Reuse them.
just imagine an entire classroom of just buttheads, just
Yeah. Those go on dicks.
It's like a cautionary tale. It's like, you think it just disappears? You think the shit just disappears? No, it's right. Like some guy who works there is like got on gloves and he's like, what do you think? You say this is your shit.
The funniest thing about the shit factory is that
The funniest thing about this shit, that's a tall order.
is that they obviously have a lot of shit to deal with, so they basically
So to speak.
well, they pull it out of the retention pond and they rake it out over this huge field, and the entire field, tomatoes,
Yeah, that's, I mean,
growing fucking
You would have
tomatoes
to.
as far as you can see that have grown out of the poop.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great fertilizer, man.
Yeah, so I don't think you can eat the shit tomatoes, but they got them, boy. They got them.
See, for our cautionary class trips, we just went to jail.
I think we went to jail too.
You went to jail?
Yeah. We got fingerprinted, which now I think is so fucked up.
Yeah.
We're just like,
See someone who's like our age now in the drunk tank, you're like, look at that loser. I wish I got
Alabama.
Never gonna be that guy.
Alabama's fucking crazy.
I know. Like, I don't think I took any cautionary.
We went to the water
trips.
treatment plant.
I went to like art museums.
Yeah, we did that
We
too.
went to the shit factory, to the jail.
This is as high as you can dream, Alabama children.
You think poop grows on trees? I murdered my family.
Oh, at the dump, they told us they were like, well, people think they can throw stuff away, but if the police need to find something that was thrown away on a specific date, we know exactly where it went.
Yeah.
So they can be like, okay, so this is about the area where the, whatever, the pieces of the body you hacked up are going to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we went to the Space and Science Center sometimes, too.
Sure.
That was fun.
Yeah. This was mostly just about Mr. Blake, just being like, sort of a Mrs. Frizzle or a Willy Wonka type person, just being like, we're going to the shit factory today, children.
And even to circle back around, they would have board games for sale at the Space and Science Center, but it would just be like space takes on it, like Space Monopoly.
Yeah.
Like there wouldn't be like a
There's
newer
so
one.
many
Rebrand.
There's so many different kinds of Monopoly.
Oh, there are so many.
They used to sell. I'm from Austin. They sold a University of Texas Longhorn Monopoly game.
It'd be like selling players as opposed to properties, I guess.
I don't think they can use the player's name legally. They were
Right, yeah, 'cause they
little.
can't pay 'em
Also,
for anything.
not a good look for rich guys to be selling players.
Yeah, not a great look.
Oh, see, I was going to
Sorry,
say,
professional sports.
I was going to say you sniped a bunch of people from the bell tower. Go directly to jail. Speaking of which, there's a game from 1981 called Capital Punishment, and
I wonder if some of these are like educational games before there were like computer educational games.
yeah. Well, I was trying to get around like looking at all these. There's like Fart the game. That's like the modern ones. I'm looking for like the unironic like no, we thought this was a good idea.
Yeah.
And this one, from 1981, 3.5 is the rating.
Boy.
Complexity of 1. This game was published.
Not much to it. Flip the switch.
I didn't have to think about that.
I guess I'll wear the mask, but flip the switch.
So this game says this game was published for political reasons to quote make a point.
Sounds fun.
That it turns out to be somewhat enjoyable is purely coincidental. In this game, a player may win by maneuvering all 4 of his criminals in such a way that they are all in life imprisonment, death row, or the electric chair. or the player may use
the most fun form of capital punishment there is.
Or the player may use his 2 liberals to spring the opposing player's criminals from the path of justice back out to the street, often to
Play your snowflake card.
your SJW. You're actually just your JW card. You can spring them back onto the streets often enough to turn all 15 of each opponent's innocent citizens into victims of violent crimes.
My God.
Victims go to heaven.
Jesus Christ, it says that? Wow, this is like the most... There's not even... You can't even say this is thinly veiled.
It's
There's no
just
veil at all for
straight
their political agenda.
Straight
You know what it
fascist.
is.
Yeah.
I was wondering, too, how many games are like Who Wants to Go to Heaven? Like, there's got to be a lot of them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Who can quote Jesus? The board game.
Oh, you'll like this one, Grant. This is from 1971. Spiro T. Agnew's American History
Jeez.
Challenge.
Wow.
It's got a rating of 5.
The game resigned from shelves.
Vice President Spiro Agnew lent his name to a trivia game based on United States history. The game features question cards in 5 categories: Age of Exploration, Colonies and Independence, Expansion Westward, Industrialization, and 20th Century America, as well as a bonus card of sing-along cards and recitation cards.
Jeez.
The cards contain 5 questions in increasing difficulty. Answers are not verified unless someone challenges the responder, in which case the correct answer is looked up on the back of the rule book. So.
Ugh. Okay, the number 2 highest rated game of all time on Board Game Geek is Pandemic. You think it could hit number one right now? Come on.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Maybe it's going to hit number one. Come on, guys.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're throwing that shitty movie Outbreak on Netflix. It's number. Oh yeah, no. It's people are going to stay on brand.
It is actually true that Pandemic is the number 2 highest rated game.
Wow.
What's is number one?
Number 1 is a game called Gloomhaven, which I've heard is very fun, but is one of those ones where you have to get people back every week for weeks to like finish it, and I have no patience to do that.
Okay.
Right?
It's like,
I've heard it's fun, but it ain't for me.
yeah. Would you now? This is outside of the realm of like the games we have to come back like role playing games like Dungeons
Yeah.
and Dragons, Magic the Gathering. That are those considered a different realm than just your standard board game? Or are they kind of in the same world?
They're still in the same world. Well,
Yeah.
I would say that Magic the Gathering is more so in the same world than Dungeons and Dragons because there are physical cards and that sort of stuff. But it's all included in the same thing. They call the RPGs as like the Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
And when you go to a board game convention, there are like whole RPG events.
Right.
So
okay.
it's still all included in the same world for sure.
right.
Yeah.
How do you stand? Were you ever a fan of RPGs?
When I was a kid, I did a lot of Magic the Gathering. I did a little bit of D&D, which I've always had fun doing it, but I just never got deep into that world. I would totally do it, but your experience with Dungeons and Dragons is also highly dependent on who your dungeon master is, and so I don't have somebody in my life like that wants to DM a bunch, so I haven't like gotten that into it.
Yeah. We pissed this guy off who was trying to be I've tried to play D&D one time as an adult.
Yeah.
It was a mistake. Because like this guy had to drive 45 minutes out from town to be the dungeon master. And he really, he had like a storyline set up for weeks.
That's what I mean. It's like you got to do a lot of work.
Yeah. And for free. I mean, he was loved, but we just didn't show up to one. He's like, what's the point of me even coming? Like he started freaking out. We treated it like it was a board game, so we'd get drunk during it, which is, it's highly involved. And he was I was like, so do I get to go into the dungeon now? And he was like, no, you do not get to go into the dungeon yet because it is not your turn. Also, you have used your attack card. And then I remember listening to this voicemail. He sent my friend, be like, I simply can't come 45 minutes out of town. Not everyone's going to be there. I've set up a whole thing. I mean, he was like freaking out. It was understandable. He put a lot of work.
I can't do this without my mage.
Yeah. My last vestige of now I wish I had more patience.
And it's also true. Like I know there's like a silly phenomenon in that world where it's like you build up a character, your character can die, and it's like a big deal to some people, right? It's like I've spent years with that character, and now it's dead, and I don't know how to proceed with my life.
Yikes.
I found one from 1977 called Smokers Wild. And on the front it says
by the good people at Philip Morris.
Well, no, actually it says the hilarious anti-smoking game.
Oh, anti-smoking.
And the guy on the front kind of looks like Randy Newman. A little
Totally.
bit.
Whoa, yeah.
Or like a young Bernie. He's got cigarettes filling his mouth. And it says, in this anti-smoking game, the players try to accumulate money while avoiding addiction to cigarettes. At the start of the game, each player picks a profession likely to benefit from the smoking of others. Doctor, undertaker, etc. And then starts moving around the board. If a player lands on an advertising space, there's a chance that he or she will begin smoking. When a smoker ends up sharing a space with another player, there's a chance he'll pawn one of his bad habits onto him.
Again, a game developed simply for an agenda, right?
The game ends once the first player dies dies in the short game or when one player remains alive in the longer game. So it's extremely simple to play and filled with all kinds of horrible puns. The game's claim is that it has the power to cause smokers to quit.
Hey, kids, want to play this game that'll ensure you smoke cigarettes?
This card makes you feel cool.
Yeah, maybe smoking makes you look cool, but playing this game makes you look cooler.
This one actually sounds kind of fun. This is from 1964. Originally, let's see, I think it's a Swedish game called Chicoria, but the American version is Big Funeral. So
Yeah.
a card game of wits for 3 to 6 people. So the theme is to throw wild funeral parties while still alive.
Once you're dead, no more funeral parties for you.
It says, scheme, make your friends look cheap. Send them to a slob hill in an orange crate coffin. Accumulate $50,000 worth of hearses, tombstones, and other status symbols.
I mean, that's what funerals are all about.
Wow.
All these unfun games that have death as a feature.
Yeah, they're trying to go for broke, you know?
Yeah, they put out a game for the Where's the Beef Lady?
Oh,
in
yeah.
1984.
Damn.
Which was a Wendy's commercial, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And most of the time when dudes play it and they go, "Where's the beef?" It's in my pants.
Booyah!
Oh, the object is to be the first player to find the 4 hidden beef tokens.
Beef tokens.
That's actually what they call it at the shit factory. Oh, we got another truckload of beef tokens coming in.
They're about to start handing those out at grocery stores in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Here's your beef
It's
token.
that's our new currency in quarantine. Beef tokens.
Yeah, beef tokens. Here's your salt token.
Yeah.
This is another foreign game, and I'm not exactly sure that I'm saying this correctly, but it appears to be the name of the game, Moron Terror.
Oh no, they're buying all the toilet paper when no indication has given that will matter.
But everyone's got a shit.
Moron terror.
Have you heard of Intern? That's the one that a lot of people talk about from 1979.
Like an IN space TURN.
No, like a medical intern, and the tagline is, "Now you are a physician." The game is Monopoly set in a hospital, and each player has to admit patients, diagnose them, and somehow not kill them to win the game. There's no money, but you earn valuable sleep, which of course is every medical student's dream.
Everyone can relate to that.
Man, these learning games really are the worst ones.
I mean,
Yeah.
Learning sucks.
There was one that I definitely remember the commercials for. I wonder if I could actually pull it up so we can hear the audio, because it was fucking hilarious. It was Electronic Mall Madness. Do you remember that one?
Oh, no.
They used to run commercials for this on like Nickelodeon and stuff like that back in the day.
I'm mad about shopping. We're mad about Mall Madness. Catch some madness. It's Mall Madness.
Attention mall shoppers.
It's Mall Madness, the talking shop till you drop game.
Sale at the Fashion Boutique.
Catch some madness. It's Mall Madness.
I love my own credit card.
It's Mall Madness.
No deposits.
Take $100.
All withdrawals.
Catch some madness. It's
First out of the mall with all their stuff wins.
I was born to shop. It's Mall Madness.
An electronic voice tells you where all the sales in the mall are, and then you go there and buy things. If you run out of money, just go to the bank and get more. The first person to buy 6 items makes it to the parking lot wins.
Now that game is just empty. Half the stores are closed.
Mall Madness was, around 2007.
Have
when
you
all the
been
malls
to a mall
closed.
recently? They are real sad.
Oh, the mall in my hometown has mostly been taken over by the university as extensions.
Yeah.
So, like, the back half of the mall where, like, the Sears used to be is just now Auburn University, too. It's just, like, satellite offices and shit.
They're just real ghost towns.
They put the Bursar out there, I think.
Yeah.
So you now, if you have to pay a bill to the university, you have to drive to the fucking mall.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so that's how things are going in a town that's economically stable.
If you're
Seriously.
looking for a mall, head to Eagle Rock and go to the mall that is mostly a Chinese fish market.
Yes.
Now?
Yeah.
It's all. It used to be like a.
It's connected. There's a Target and there's a Macy's, and there's stores in the middle, but once you leave the Target or Macy's, it just reeks of fish.
Really?
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, the last time I was there, we went to get some seafood, and there was a woman with a broom trying to get a live crab to go back in the store. There was a crab making a break for it, and she was like, "Get back, get back!" And was just like trying to hit it, like make it go back in the store. So, that's a fun. Yeah, the Eagle Rock Mall's fun.
All right, I got to check that out sometime.
If you ever want to go smell a terrible smell,
Yeah.
Yeah, you can either go to the shit factory or to the Eagle Rock Mall.
Oh, yeah.
Does everybody remember Don't Wake Daddy?
Oh, I love that game.
Did you
I
play that
reference
one?
that? I reference it all the time. Like when I spring to attention, like terrified. Yeah.
Wait, so that's your...
Did you actually play it a bunch?
I just remember of the two games from childhood, I remember the commercials for the best. It was that one and Crossfire.
Oh, yeah, well, we can talk Crossfire for a minute because, boy, me
and my brother used to piss swords and sing that song. and then at the very end, you got to go by Milton Bradley.
the chasm that exists between the commercial for Crossfire and the reality of playing Crossfire. Did you ever play that game?
No,
All
I
those
don't
stupid
think
little
so.
guns would get jammed up like so easily.
Do you know the game at all? Like,
Yeah, I remember
where
it.
you have you have this you just have these little guns that shoot these little BBs across a board, and it is the most unfulfilling thing. But the commercial, I mean, there's literally a kid on like a Green Goblin hoverboard flying over a pit of lava.
It's sometime in the future. The ultimate challenge. Crossfire. Crossfire. You get caught up in the crossfire. Crossfire. You get caught up in the crossfire. 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 You'll get caught up in it.
Yeah.
Like, this looks fucking dope, and then you actually get it, and you're like, ugh, this is bad.
Never watched trailers, you know.
I found a game called Learning About Manners Picnic Basket Game. Kids learn about manners by getting ants to stop stealing food by saying
Stop with the learning games. Fuck learning.
by saying please and thank you. So you tell ants who are eating your food at the picnic basket, please and thank you.
Yeah, we've all tried that.
Do it the old-fashioned way. Give your kids treats if they use the toilet correctly. You know, I don't need a board game for that.
Oh, there's
Sit down, you get a cookie. That's how this works.
Yeah.
This is a truly strange one from 1967 called Feely Mealy, where
The game of inappropriate touching.
well, so
What it-
if you look at the box, and we'll put this on our Twitter, there are a bunch of children where the idea is that you reach into
it's
a
like
box.
it's like a haunted horror exercise
Yeah.
where you have to reach in and it's they're eyeballs, but they're just grapes with their skin removed.
yeah, it's like that.
You know?
But yeah, the cover is just horrible. It's a bunch of kids.
One of the kids is crying.
One is screaming. One is. Actually, two of them seem to be completely enraptured. Yeah, and then one of them is just sort of like,
Do you want another learning game? Make your kids learn to be afraid of you. Play Feeling Mealy. You're playing this now, kids.
Feel it. Feel the hand.
there is a Big John, which is it's okay. So it's a big toilet.
Hey, Big John, you're looking a little flushed.
When I was just a party, I never thought I'd be plug up with all these scuzzies that kids have stuffed in me. You know, I will explode. So try to flush your friends alone.
Knows when he will blow, he's a stuck up toilet bowl.
The game where you throw in your scuzzies, flush, and hope they don't come out. Get rid of all your scuzzies first and win.
Who knows when he will blow, he's a stuck up toilet bowl.
Will he flush? Will he burp? Will he blow? You never know. Keep stuffing scuzzies and flushing till somebody makes Big John flush big time.
Stuffing
The
scuzzies.
game of
And
constipation.
then sends all the scuzz balls flying.
Jesus.
Get rid of all your plastic scuzzies first and you win.
I like thinking about the board meeting where they were like, well, we can't call this shit. So what are we gonna what are we gonna call it instead?
You
Huh?
see, like the guy chopping the cigars, like kids
Yeah.
love shit humor. So
What are we gonna call it? What about scuzzies?
ooh, yucky scuzzies.
Look, when I was a kid, my favorite day was the day we got to go to the shit factory. Now I want to take my appreciation to the next level.
Look, my nephew loves shit. He loves poop. He loves shit. How can we capitalize on that? I want to hear ideas, and I want to hear them by Monday.
There's got to be more kids out there that like poo-poo.
Five pooping games on my desk by 5 p.m.
I want a doo-doo game on my desk every day. Your job's on the line, mister.
Bigfoot from 1977. They did make a Bigfoot game.
Bigfoot's just blurry in it.
Yeah.
The box looks cool as shit. I'll put this on our Twitter. I really do want the box. That's
fun.
I want that framed. That's very cool. Of just a bunch of kids playing.
Wait, hold on.
You
want that box?
I want the box, man. It's hilarious.
You would purchase the box?
Fuck yeah, dude. The giant snow monster.
Are you okay, Rivers?
Dude, Bigfoot's cool, man.
Something missing in your life, Rivers?
I'll tell you something's missing in my life, and that's Milton Bradley's Bigfoot the game. It's very much missing. The box looks cool. It's a Bigfoot. Bigfoots are good.
You in the game, you just keep repeating the same facts over and over, and nobody believes you.
It lasts forever.
Yeah.
There's no ending to this game.
You've charted every ounce of this world, but you still believe it exists somewhere. Bigfoot the game.
There's one from 1989 called Baby Boomer.
Where we explode babies.
Well, in this game, the baby has a gun at the end of the hallway, trying to get mom, dad, or Officer Bill down the hallway before the baby shoots them.
Wow.
I think this is an attempt.
A game about locking up your guns.
Yeah, I literally think it's probably like the Brady campaign or something made this thing.
So I think the biggest lesson from today's episode is there's too many board games.
There's a shitload of them. Yeah. But yeah, I think those
they
are.
Should have stopped making them in the '60s after they perfected it with Feely Mealy.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on the internet, sir?
Oh, well, the most exciting thing to say is I also have an album coming out.
That's right. Yeah.
It's my first big label, major label album.
Hell yeah.
It comes out March 24th, and all of our shows have been canceled, but you can still listen to comedy albums.
Hell yeah.
Hey, there you go.
It's a great way to listen to comedy.
This is a great way to support an artist while he can't support himself.
Pay for it.
That's awesome, man. What's it called?
It's called Scheduled Fun Time.
Hell yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, dude.
Perfect.
So I feel very good about it. It's, been a lot of years of work going into it, and it's already
Came out good?
I feel pretty.
Where'd you record it at?
I did it at the Laughing Skull Lounge in Atlanta.
Awesome.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome.
So yeah, I did it. I recorded it in July, and it's finally coming out to everybody, and it's 10 years of worth of jokes on there and stuff like that.
Great,
so,
man.
yeah.
Are you excited or are you nervous because you have to get rid of those jokes?
I'm fully excited because I already have a full new hour I'm doing on stage.
Nice.
Oh,
so
fuck yeah,
nice.
I
man.
recorded it once. I basically half the bits I was like, I don't even want to tell. Not that they're not good bits, but they're just I'm moved on to other things. So it's time to put these all on an album and get out there.
The first record, right?
Yeah, this is the first. I self-released one when I was 4 years into comedy.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, but this is my first real one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Who's putting it out, by the way?
800 Pound Gorilla
that's great,
Records.
man.
Oh, badass, dude.
Yeah, they're good company.
They put out
out of Nashville?
Yeah.
I used to work for them.
Oh, did you really? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
I edited stuff for their radio stage for Sirius.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
I've already been the featured artist on multiple Sirius stations with
that's
it.
the best.
I was the featured artist on Pandora this week for it. So
fuck yeah.
yeah.
This is the big question, especially now because all the damn shows have been canceled.
Yeah.
What platform gets you the most money?
I don't know. I mean, the real answer. The real answer is Sirius.
Yeah.
XM,
Oh well, yeah.
who gets us.
Yeah.
But that's you can't actually determine when to listen to it.
Right.
They're making the curated choices.
But you could tweet at them.
Yeah.
And be like,
I love this record.
Play more at Grant Line 1.
You can't.
totally.
Do you just sell it would you just personally sell it to somebody? Like
oh
through a
yeah, I've got
website?
download cards and that sort of stuff. I mean, that's
probably
coming to a live show and then buying
that's
the
the best
download
way.
card for me is the way that the most money comes into. I don't know, between like Spotify, Pandora, iTunes. Since I haven't done one before, I don't know what.
From what I've been told, it goes in terms of like the actual most like money per unit coming back to you. It goes Amazon, then iTunes, then Spotify.
Okay.
Like Spotify is like,
yeah, I mean, I've heard people say like, oh, I've got 1 million listens on Spotify and I've made $500
yeah,
from that.
Yeah,
you know,
so
wow.
Tweet it
Yeah.
serious. That's the way to do it, man. Tweet it serious and say you want to hear more.
But
of,
it's always,
Grant Lyon.
I don't know if this is old school of me. I've been telling people to get it on iTunes because I've always like wanted to be number one on the comedy
of course.
charts
Yeah,
on
of
iTunes.
course.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something like cool about that to me.
it's a milestone.
So
Yeah.
I would love people to get it on iTunes and hit number one on there.
Well, yeah, fuck yeah. Then definitely do that. Buy it across platforms because God knows
You
everybody's
gotta get number one.
Yeah.
Take that screenshot where
Yep.
you're above Steve Renazizi
Yep.
or some shit.
I want it.
Well, shit, yeah, man. And follow Grant on Twitter.
Yeah.
You're at Grant Lyon 1.
Yeah, I don't
correct?
tweet very much, but I'm on Instagram a lot.
Oh, there you
So,
go. Yeah.
Also at Grant Lyon 1 on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, definitely do that. Sam, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
Facebook. The best way to get in contact with me, though, is to join our Patreon.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Where, against all intelligence and reason, I give out my phone number.
You can get for
And I get about 1, sometimes 2 texts a week from new
people have been reaching out.
Yeah,
That's
shout out to
funny.
Nick from Film Guff.
Oh.
Texted me today to see if I was doing all right with the Corona stuff going
shit.
on.
Yeah. Shout out to Nick in listening in Boston, MA. That's great. Well, shit, yeah, man. Carter, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Twitter and Facebook. Also, I'm going to be recording a set for Amazon Prime's Laughed After Dark. It has been pushed to the end of April.
Oh, good. So they actually gave you a
yeah.
Good,
so it's
good.
going to be at the end of April now. Everyone who has a ticket, it's going to carry over to that time.
Okay, sweet.
So yeah, I should have even told you that because
I was gonna say I need to get a ticket actually.
Oh yeah, it's carried over now to the end of April, and that's what's the reason. But you can also see me on the Goldbergs episode is Body Swap. I'm in it for 15 seconds.
Hell
But check
yeah.
me out on that, and that's where you can see me.
The best way to support the show, as Sam mentioned, is to head on over to patreon.com/thegoodspod. Join the Tower of Power for the price of a cup of coffee in the big time. $5 a month. Get you access to a bonus show every week. Last week, comedian Luke Jensen and I reviewed Freddy versus Jason, where a member of Destiny's Child does homophobia unto Freddy Krueger. So,
Does she ever?
oh boy, it's really something else. So head on over, join the Patreon. The second best way to support this show is to go to Apple Podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. And doing all that shows the attitude of gratitude. And if you don't have the attitude of gratitude,
We're taking you straight to the shit factory.
Sorry.
and we'll see you next week.
Sometimes I feel like I'm a caveman, sitting in the darkness of my room. My soul is empty as a styrofoam cup. I wanna crawl back in my mama's womb. Does it turn you on? Would you hold me tight? Does it turn you on? Does it do you right? My hands hold nothing and I'm made of clay.
The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.